In this video, we'll talk about overview of multivariate methods. This is the methods of factor analysis. We'll talk. First, we'll discuss about the learning objectives and then chapter review. Upon completing this chapter, you should be able to do followings. Number 1, explain what multivariate analysis is and when its application is appropriate. Discuss the nature of measurement scale and their relationship to multivariate techniques. Understand the nature of measurement error and its impact on multivariate analysis. Determine which multivariate technique is appropriate for a specified research problem. Define the specified technique, including in multivariate analysis. Discuss the guideline for application and interpretation of multivariate analysis. Understand the 6-step appropriate to multivariate model building. Let's talk about the chapter review. This chapter presents simplified overview of multivariate analysis. It stresses that multivariate analysis methods will necessarily influence not only the analytical aspect of the research but also the design and approaches to data collection for decision making and problem solving. Although multivariate techniques characteristics with their univariates and biovariates counterpart. Several key differences arise in the transaction to a multivariate analysis. To illustrate these transactions, this chapter presents a classification of multivariate techniques. It then provides journal guidance for the application of these techniques as well as the structural approach of the formation, estimation, and interpretation of the multivariate result. This chapter concludes with the discussion of the dataset utilized throughout the text to illustrate applications of the techniques. Let's talk about the key terms. Before starting the chapter review, the key terms to develop an understanding of the concept and terminology used. Throughout this chapter, the key terms appear in boldface. Other points of the emphasis in this chapter are italicized. Also, cross references within the key terms appear in italicized. Alpha, which a type of the error, and beta, this is a second type of the error. Biovariate, partial correlation, simple two variable correlation between two set of the residual unexplained variance, the remain after the association of other independent variable is removed. This is the chapter 1 of the multivariate data analysis, and this chapter I have taken from the Joseph Sir book. Let's talk about bootstrapping, an approach to validating a multivariate model by drawing a large number of samples and estimating model for each sample. Estimates from all the sample are the combined provide not only the best estimated coefficient, for example, mean of each estimated coefficient across all of the subsample model, but their unexpected variability and those their likelihood of differing from 0. This is are the estimated coefficient statistically different from 0 or not. This approach does not rely on statistical assumptions about the population to assess statistical significance, but instead make it essential based solely on the data. Composite measurement, that is the Summit scale. Dependence technique. Composite measurement we can see when we'll talk about the Summit scale. Dependence technique, what is this? This is the classification of the statistical technique distinguished by having a variable of set of the variable identified as the dependent variable and the remain variable as variables. The object is predictions of the dependent variable by the independent variable. An example is regression analysis. Dependent variable, presumed effect of or responses to a change in the interdependent variables. What are the dummy variables? It is the non-metrically measurement variable transformed into the metric variable by assessing a 1 or 0 to a subject depending on whether it is possible a particular characteristic. Effect size, estimate of the degree to which the phenomena being studied, for example correlation or differences in means, exist in the population. Interdependent variable, presumed cause of any change in the dependent variable. Indicator, single variable used in the conjunction with one or more other variable from a composite measures. Interdependence technique, classification of the statistical technique in which the variable are not divided into dependent and independent set. All variables are analyzed as a single set of the factor analysis. Measurement error, inaccuracies of the measurement, the true variable value due to the flexibility of the measurement instrument, that is appropriate scale. Data entry error or respondent error. Metric data, also called quantitative data, interval data or ratio data. These measurements identify or describe subjects or object not only the position of the attribute but also by the amount of degree to which the subject may be characterized by the attribute. For example, a person, age and weight are metric data. Multicollinearity, extent to which a variable can be explained by the other variables in the analysis. As multicollinearity increases, it complicates the interpretation of the variate because it is more difficult to ascertain the effect of any single variable owing to their interrelationships. Multivariate analysis, analysis of multiple variable in a single relationship or set of the relationship. Multivariate measurement, use of two or more variable and indicators of a single composite measures. For example, a personality test may provide the answer to a series of individual questions indicators which are then combined to form a single score summit scale representing the personality traits. Non-metric data, also called quantitative data. These are attribute, characteristics or categorical papers that identify or describe a subject or object. They differ from metric data by indicating the presence of an attribute but not the amount. Examples are occupation, physician, attorney, professor, or buyer status. Buyer, non-buyer, also called nominal data or ordinal data. Power, probability of the correctly rejecting the null hypothesis when it is false, that is correctly finding a hypothesized relationship when it exists, determining as a function of the statistical significance level set by the researcher for a type 1 error, we call it alpha error, the sample size used in the analysis and the effect size being examined. Practical significance, means of assessing multivariate analysis result based on their substantive finding rather than their statistical significance, whereas statistical significance determines whether the result is attributable to chance. Practical significance assessed whether the result is useful, that is substantial enough to warrant action in achieving the research objective. Reliability, extent to which a variable or set of the variable is consistent in what is intended to measured. If multiple measurements are taken, The reliable measurement will all be consistent in their values. It differ from validity in that it relates not to what should be measured but instead how to it measured. Specification error, omitting a key variable from the analysis, those affecting the estimated effect of included variables. Summit scale, method of combining several variables that measure the same concept into a single variable, is an attempt to increase the reliability of the measurement through multivariate measurement. In most instances, the separate variables are summed and their total on average score is used to the analysis. Treatment independent variable, the researcher multivariates to see the effect any of the dependent variables such as in an experiment, that is, for example, testing the appeal of the color, even the black and white advertisement. Type 1 error, probability of increasingly incorrectly rejecting the null hypothesis. In most cases, it means saying differences of correlation exist when it is actually does not. All and alpha typical level and 5 or 1% turned on the 0.05 or 0.01 level respectively. Type 2 beta error, we call it the second error, probability of the incorrectly falling to the reject the null hypothesis. In simple term, the chance of not finding correlation of mean differences when it does exist, also termed beta b. It is the inversely related to type 1 error. The value of the 1 must the type second error. 1 minus beta is defined as the power. Univariate analysis of variance, we call it ANOVA. Statistical technique used to determine on the basis of the dependent measurement whether the sample are from the population with equal means. Validity, the extent to which a measurement of the set measures correctly represent the concept of study, the degree to which it is free from any statement error. Validity is concerned with how well the concept is defined by the means are, whereas reliability related to the consistency of the measurement. Variate, linear combination of the variable from in the multivariate technique by driving empirical weight applied to a set of variables specified by the researcher. First is, what is the multivariate analysis? Today business must be more profitable, react quickly, and offer high quality products and services, and do it all the fewer people and at the lower cost. An essential requirement in this chapter is effective knowledge creation and management. There is no lack of the information, but there is a dearth of the knowledge. As Tom Peters said in this book, Thriving a Chow, we are drowning in the information and stray from the knowledge. The information available for decision making exploded in recent years and will continue to do so in the future, probably even faster. Until recent, much of the information just disappeared. It was not collect of discourse discarded. Today the information is being collected and stored in a data warehouse and it is available to the mind. From improved decision making, some of the information can be analyzed and understood the simple statistical, but much of the required more complex multivariate statistical technique to convert these data into the knowledge. A number of technological advances help us to apply the multivariate techniques. Among the most important are the development in the computer hardware and software. The speed of computing equipment has doubled every 18 months, with the price have tumbled. Use friendly software package brought data analysis into the point and click era and can quickly analyze mountain of the complex data with relative cases. Indeed, industry, government, and the university related to the research center brought the world of making the whispered use of the technology. We use the generic term researcher when the referring to a data analysis within the either the practitioner or academic communities. We feel inappropriate to make any distinction between these two areas because research is both relies on theoretical and quantitative basis. Although the researcher objective and the emphasis is the interpretation may vary, a researcher within the either era much address all of the issues both conceptual and the empirical rise in this discussion of the statistical method. Next video will talk about the multivariate analysis in statistical term.